And we are back. It's your man Odell, aka Artbyodell. Let me give introduction to our special guest. She hails from the city of Oakland. I mean, just Atlanta hustlers, man. I mean, we talk about entrepreneur. You're talking about just getting it from the ground up. Your Too Shorts, everybody. I mean, Oakland is a city that I just have a lot of respect for because so many people get it. Certified Vinyasa yoga instructor. Took on yoga, I guess, to kind of help through a difficult time, and it became something that you just have made it your own. Also, too, rather than, when you were taking on yoga, might not have been as welcome in certain studios, and rather than complain about that, went ahead and took your creative skills and your love of the practice and make your own. Someone who has partnered with brands such as Lululemon, Lyft, been featured in publications and writings like blackdoctor.org. I Don't Do Clubs. Shout out to Janisha, girl who runs out back clubs. I know her. Also featured Ebony, Fast Company, things of that sort. Basically an event, not just a class, like an event with the soundtrack laid by DJ TrueStar, the COO of the brand. Yeah. Listen, without further ado, help me welcome the woman who gives us on a weekly basis ratchet affirmations, Trap Yoga Bay.
Thank you so much for having me. Like, you doing that intro, I'm like, first of all, you did your research. Second of all, I'm like, oh crap, like I sound like I'm doing something with my life. But like, I need to wake up to, like, that is an affirmation, right? You wake up in your alarm clock's like, and featured in, and this is what you're doing, and you're changed. Thank you for having me. Feel free
to record that, play it back whenever you need it. My gift to you.
Receive.
So, speaking of that, like, how did you get into yoga, and when did it become something, not just a class, but something that you have a true passion for?
Yeah, so my first interaction with yoga was actually in college. Okay. I went to Dillard University. I lived in New Orleans, and I was feisty. And by feisty, I mean violent. Okay.
And college years could be a trip, too. Because you're around so many people, you're in dorms, people from different areas. Yeah. People don't respect space sometimes.
Bruh. You get it.
I know it.
You get it.
And, I know that life.
And that's exactly what happened. Someone crossed over into my space, and I got really pissed. And what I learned in Oakland, which is the land of hustlers for sure, but also the land of, like, slap you down if you get in my face. And I did what I learned in my city. And for the first time, I had to really pay consequences for that. Ooh, okay. So aside from being, sillily violent, I also have always been an academic. I've always thought of myself as a leader. And that fight cost me my ability to be freshman class president. Oh, wow. And so then I really had to figure out, like, how am I going to deal with life in a way that is more constructive? And somebody told me about yoga. Okay. So I tried it. I liked it. I liked it so much that when I went on to get my master's degree in positive psychology and social behavioral studies, plugged for, like, the educated black women out there.
I see you.
My senior thesis was that how does yoga help you during transitionary times? How can yoga help you when you are so stressed out that you just want to slap a hoe, right? Like, just let's be honest.
It happens.
And I learned a lot about that. Let yoga go completely because I got married, started having kids, and then I stopped slapping life, and life slapped me. So
you stopped punching, and you got punched back yourself.
I got punched back. I was like, "Oh, life hits hard, right?" Yeah. And so I found myself embarking on a divorce, right, from a really shady, relationship. And so I tell people, "Congratulations," is what you say to me, not like I'm sorry.
There you go.
Right?
We've all been there.
Yeah. And so I said, how do I find myself? Right, because we all know when you go through a nasty breakup, especially something after like 9 years and 2 kids, you're like, I don't even know who I am anymore.
Yeah, you kind of lost track of who you were.
Absolutely. And so I went on this Eat, Pray, Love journey. I spent 3 months in China, Brazil, and India.
And then you went to Colombia too, right?
I also went to Colombia. I mean, I never stopped traveling after that, but those were the first 3 places.
I was going to ask you about that, so go ahead.
Yeah, we'll get there. And so while I was in India, I studied at the Hariom School of Vinyasa. Okay. I wasn't there to become a yoga instructor. I was just there
for the thesis and
stuff. For the thesis and to get it cheap, right? And to get it cheap. Like, can we be real here? Like, we're trying to save some money.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So all of that happened. I came back home. I really caught the reins of who I was and how I wanted to operate in the world, you know, and I feel like the world puts you in a box, but people forget that you can build that box. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to rebuild this box.
Okay.
And this is who I am. And anybody who calls me by any other name or any other attribute, you're out. Right, like mama, you don't know me, click, you're out. And so I'm in medical school at this point.
Okay.
And I have a friend who opened a dance studio. She just wanted to dance. She says, hey, can you come and help me out? Help me fill this schedule. I need you to teach a class. And I'm like, She said, well, whatever money you can make, you keep half.
Okay.
I'm from Oakland. I like hustle.
Hey,
I'm like,
little motivation right there.
Right? And so I do this like little twerky thing, and I say, come holla at a player. I teach trap yoga, and 100 people showed up.
Oh, wow.
And not just 100 people, it was the people that I always wished I could see in my yoga classes, right? It was brown women. It was women with curves. It was queer women. It was just the most diverse experience I ever had. And then I really had this epiphany that the reason why I never felt comfortable in those yoga classes is because I was sitting there waiting for someone to curate an experience for me that it was my job to curate for other people.
Right there. Wait, let me just package that real quick. Let me run that back for a second. I love that because that is the main thing about it, right? Because sometimes we get intimidated going to spaces. And I remember I used to work at the Alabama Shakespeare Festival back when I lived in Montgomery, and just going to the theater. And I became more versed in going to the theater. And sometimes you didn't see settings that you like. So then at the same time, people would ask me about like the Tyler Perrys and stuff like that, like how I felt about it, because being that I went to school for art and, you know, seeing theater on a high level, I was like, nah, I respect it because, you know, he's creating something that's comfortable in the space and is bringing black people to the theater. So I'm all for it. So I respect somebody not just sitting around being frustrated and mad about it, but you're saying, let me create this space so these women can come and enjoy.
Absolutely. And take care of themselves, right? In a way that's not only culturally relevant, but also palatable, right? Like, you got to put sugar on them vegetables when people first starting out, you know? Right. And for me, trap yoga was that. And so the natural progression of the brand was, it still wasn't a company yet. I still hadn't fully realized that, like, this is that new thing that I'm walking in. So after a few classes, that very same friend comes to me and she says, Brittany, I've known you since you were 14.
I
can see when you light up. I've never seen you better than when you are walking away from teaching this class. And I've never seen such camaraderie, such community happen so fast amongst women.
Yeah.
You need to drop out of school.
Oh,
and I was like,
decision to make.
Okay, it wasn't a hard decision. It was not a hard decision. Let me tell you something. Like, it was easy.
You knew.
So, and so this is now February 6, 2017. I walk into my school. I do this presentation. I'm like, did you guys love it? And they're like, well, of course we love it. Like, you're really good at what you do. And I'm like, okay, great. I don't like you. I'm out. This is not fun. I know you was cheating off my test. Like, I know you've been hating. And I'm gone. And I left school, and I never looked back. Went on a little baby tour. Really, I was just like wanting to go visit my friends.
Okay.
And I do this thing called Wouldn't It Be Nice? It's a form of meditation. It's visualizing. Wouldn't it be nice if, right? Instead of thinking about how things go wrong, wouldn't it be nice?
What about when it happens? Yeah. Okay.
Wouldn't it be nice if when I get to Denver, I teach a class and this class sells out and I make enough money to pay for my flights and my housing to see my friends? That happened. And then I kept saying, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? And then things just exploded. I woke up and I had all of these publications that I didn't even know, were clocking me. I stopped touring just to visit friends and actually went into cities with the intentions of touring. We started doing private events. Then we got the call for Erykah Badu to open up for her. And then I said, okay, my price just went up, right?
Should have got you with it last year. They should have got you.
You got to get in while it's hot.
Come on now.
So yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a beautiful journey. I'd be remiss to say if I didn't say that there's definitely hardships and there's things that you have to adjust to, right? This isn't my first business, but this is the first business that I'm passionate about, and that I see this as my legacy when I'm done. Right.
Nice.
So it's been a wonderful ride.
Wow. It's funny too when I think about yoga just as a practice, because it makes you look inward, gives you like that humbleness and everything like that. But it is funny though, because some people, when they think about the whole Zen and the things like that, you adding some music to it, right? Like you marrying, drop it like it's hot to some yoga.
Yes.
How was that first received when you first pulled it in?
So I'm not one who's overly concerned about how people perceive what I'm doing.
Nice.
I know that however I move forward, I'm moving forward with authenticity. I'm moving forward with benevolence. So my goal is to be authentic and to never do harm to other people. Now, haters gonna get their feelings hurt because that's just what they do. But
I love that.
but when I'm here to uplift people, But when I'm here to uplift people, I don't care about what people think. Now, I definitely heard the naysayers. I heard the people that says, I was denigrating the message of
right,
yoga.
and that's what I was going to say too, because the thing about it is a lot of times people will see trap yoga, right? Or they'll see like I made a reference about the theaters, black shows, whatever. Yeah. Like you're not classically trained, or you're just putting your spin on it. And that's the thing about it too, because if they actually went to your class rather than maybe assume, and if they check your credentials rather than assume, they would see that, hey, this person is certified and trained.
And I think that's what's really beautiful about, my journey, especially with it being so serendipitous, is that I can't be denied, right? So I didn't learn this at, no offense to Core Power, I didn't learn this at Core Power. I didn't learn this from Sarah in Berkeley, right? I went straight to the source, well, right after it got taken from Africa, but I went straight to India. I sat there, I went through the entire program. I read the Bhagavad Gitas. I interpreted it in the way that felt most authentic to me. And the people who say that have never been to the class.
Exactly.
Because if you come to the class, you do see the beautiful marriage of all of those elements of a culturally relevant class that says that. I teach people the pose, right? Each pose we rename, but I don't steal away the message from it, right? So, open leg forward fold turns into secure the back pose. Right. But I'm telling you what it's called.
Yeah, don't test her sun salutations. This woman knows what she's doing. Do not test it. But listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to definitely talk about ratchet affirmations. We want to talk about your branding. And then, of course, I always ask my question about how people build great relationships. We're going to touch that when we get right back. So listen, it's man Odell for Odell's Roundtable. We're going to take a quick break here with Trap Yoga Bay. Be right back.